Ladies and gentlemen, it's Hot Legs, straight from the Wine Exchange, with wine expert Kyle Meyer.
Howdy, welcome back to Hot Legs. Today we're going to be looking at a couple very special South African Chardonnays. Now, a lot of you out there may be familiar with South Africa as a wine entity. It's only been since the early 90s that we've seen any South African wines in the United States due to the fact, because that whole apartheid thing. Yeah. So anyway, when that was abolished back in the early 90s, South Africa was immediately able to start exporting their goods to America. Of course, there was a big rush to get South African wine here. It was a really big deal. It's like, whoa, South African wine, never had it before, never seen it, like Cuban cigars, except even rare. The problem is, when the first South African wines came in, they literally were not really good. I mean, I'll be polite. For years, they were kind of trapped in their own little isolated land, their own little island down there in South Africa, and they didn't have access to the proper vineyard, the proper rootstocks, the proper clones, the proper grape varieties, and they didn't get out very much, if you know what I mean. So there wasn't a chance for them to go see other parts of the world and taste other wines and really see what was going on out there. Well, a lot has changed in the last 15 years. Over the last 15 years, we've seen growers find the right grape varieties, find the right clones, find the right barrels, find the right winemaking, and it's been nothing short of astounding, the progress that South Africa has made in the world of fine wine over those last 15 years. So today we're going to take a look at a couple of great Chardonnays from South Africa. Now, a lot of you out there drink Chardonnay. You love Chardonnay. It's like the go-to white wine. And what I want to say today is that South Africa, outside of Burgundy and some parts of Australia and some of the finer California wines, is producing some of the finest Chardonnay in the world. They have great vineyard sites. They're very close to the water, and that allows for a very cool climate. Hot days, cool nights. Chardonnay digs that. So today we're going to look at two of them. We have first on the plate the Rustenburg 2005 Stellenbosch Chardonnay, and we're going to follow that up with the Neil Ellis 2005 Elgin Chardonnay. Now, the Rustenburg winery there's a great history behind Rustenburg, actually. It was founded back in the late 1600s and went through a variety of owners. The property was divided at one point into the Rustenburg property and another property called Schoongezicht. Sorry, my Afrikaner really stinks. Anyway, the properties were put back together by the mayor of Cape Town, John Merriman, back in the late 1800s. Everything was redone, replanted, and the contiguous Rustenburg estate has been continually producing world-class wines, at least by South African standards, since the late 1800s. It's owned by the Barlow family now. They've owned it since the 40s, and wow, they're just one of the best. They make reds and whites. This white comes from vineyards in the northwest part of Stellenbosch at a higher elevation, almost kind of like a mountainous vineyard site, quite cool, which, like I said before, Chardonnay really digs. One of my favorite Chardonnays, south of $20 this year. The wine has a great minerality to it. There is compelling notes. You get the butter, you get the butterscotch, you get apple, you get citrus fruits, and like I said, that nice underlying minerality from the cooler site. This wine sees about 70% what they call malolactic fermentation, where they convert the crisp malic acids into riper, rounder lactic acids, which gives Chardonnay that traditional buttery feel. But when you're pulling Chardonnay from cooler sites, it actually works perfectly because you retain all the cool climate flavors, but there's a richness and roundness in the mid palate. These guys know how to make Chardonnay. Quite honestly, I taste so many boring, innocuous examples of California Chardonnay with no sense of place, no sense of rhythm, no sense of complexity in the wines. They're just like oak juice. And these guys really have it figured out. Low yields, 22-year-old vines. Gorgeous fruit on this wine. About 40% new wood, and the wine is definitely not over oak. There's a little hint of toast, but not oaky. This is magic. If you play the numbers, I mean, this wine pretty much picks up 90, 91 points from Wine Spectator every year if you're into that sort of thing. It's a no-brainer, and it's on the shelf almost everywhere south of $20. Really good today. And the 05 is still drinking great. You can age good South African Chardonnay for 5, 6, 7 years. That's delicious. The next one is the Neil Ellis. Now, Neil Ellis has been in the wine business since the mid-'80s down in South Africa, even before the whole apartheid thing broke down and they were able to export wine. He was already producing premium wine in South Africa before then. Now, in 1993, he hooked up with a gentleman by the name of Hans Peter Schroeder, who owned some excellent vineyard sites, also in Stellenbosch and in the cooler Elgin sub-region of South Africa. And together they formed a partnership called Neil Ellis Wines. And as with Rustenburg, the progress they've made in just a few short years is astounding. Today we're going to take a look at their 2005 Elgin Chardonnay, which Elgin is arguably the coolest wine growing region in South Africa. It's way on the south tip, right on the southern coast. You can see the water from most of the vineyards, and it's actually cooler than Burgundy. And as with Burgundy, funny we say Burgundy, this wine smells even more Burgundian than the Rustenburg wine. Woo! You get that sweet minerality and some wonderful floral aromatics cruising out of this wine today. This is also aged 100% in oak, 50% new. Except the key here is something funny that Neil does. He uses slightly larger barrels. He uses barrels that are twice the size of the barrels at Rustenburg because he doesn't want the wine to take on as much of an oak character, and allows him to use a little more new oak. But the larger barrels, like I said, don't impart that like blatant toastiness, that wood chip character, that blatant vanilla character. That wine's good. Like with the Rustenburg, there's this gorgeous richness in the mid palate, a density of flavor, a sweetness, a juiciness of apricot and orange and citrus flavors. But then it cleans up really nice in the back palate. You get that wheat snap of minerality and the crisp acids on the finish. The wine tastes like it comes from a cool place, but has incredible richness. Wow, that's one of the best Chardonnays I've had under $20 as well. Goodness gracious. This would really make you want to throw away a lot of your California Chardonnays. Ooh, did I say that? South Africa is well on the path to making some of the best white wines in the world for the money. And I hope you get the opportunity to check these two out. They are sock knockers.